Yep. All right, I have 6 o'clock, so I declare the meeting of the monthly meeting of the Board of Supervisors, Patrick County, be in order. Let's see, Pastor Steve Dixon is here. Okay, if you'll come forward and do our invocation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you humbly to ask for your guidance. We know, Lord, that centuries ago, brave men and women came to this continent for the express purpose of founding a society that reflects your values of charity for all and neglect of none. We know, Lord, that the mantle of leadership is not one that's easily taken, but Father, it's one that you give wholeheartedly to us to determine the outcomes that we want for us that are best. I pray for these participants, Lord, that they have a gentleness of spirit, a clarity of thought, and a purity of heart in considering all of these issues. We ask all these things in Jesus' most holy name. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Perry, would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us take a moment of silence for our men and women in the military throughout the world and all of our EMS and sheriff's departments and deputies. You may be seated. Our first order of business is if Mr. Toby Hooker would come forward. This is to a certificate of achievement is to acknowledge that Toby Hooker has successfully completed the requirements for Eagle Scout. Accomplishments include 33 merit badges earned, a bronze palm, and a gold palm. The Eagle Scout project was installation of an LED sign at Patrick Springs Volunteer Fire Department. The sign is made of 2 brick columns that hold 2 antique fire hydrants. So we congratulate you. All right, we're going to look at our agenda. I think you have some things to add.
So I'd like to amend the agenda, add under new business a resolution for a right special election. Also, we need to postpone discussion of redistricting ordinance and discussion of an in-house tax assessor until our meeting on June the 13th.
Okay. All right. With those changes, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
All right, Mr. Simmons, a second?
I'll second.
All right. We'll take a vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Mr. Kendrick?
Aye.
Ms. Starwall? And Mr. Perry?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye also. We need to approve our meeting minutes. All right, a motion.
Second.
All right. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Mr. Kendrick?
Aye.
Ms. Starwall? Mr. Perry?
Aye.
I vote aye also. Now, approval of the bills, claims, and appropriations. Any questions, or do we have a motion? All right, second.
I'll second.
All right. Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Kendrick.
Aye.
Ms. Tyrell. Mr. Perry.
Aye.
I vote aye also. All right. We're now going to move into a public hearing, so I hereby open this public hearing, Vdot, proposed 6-year plan. All right. All right. Nobody has signed up to comment. Any questions, comments from the board?
I didn't sign it up, but I will.
All right, come ahead if you'll. You'll sign this. This is for the VDOT plan. Sorry. All right, thanks, sir. Appreciate it. All right.
All right, my name's Timothy East. I live on 2061 Andy Mountain Drive. And stay in River District. And my road is on the list to be paved. I think it's third now. And I live there, it's a century farm. It's been in the family since 1906. And so we pay taxes on it 116 years. And I was just wondering if we could maybe go forwards a little bit. Number 3.
Ms. Hazelwood. I'll let you take that one.
So you're talking about moving up on the priority list of the 6-year plan? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, it is with 8/10, and I live like 2 miles up.
But it is currently on the plan.
Yeah,
That's
it's
priority number
third.
3.
Talking to Hughes, and I think they're gonna pay one this time.
Okay. The board will hear from everyone tonight, and then they will make their decisions based on the comments.
And there's 21 people in there.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, then I close the public hearing for the 6-year plan. Do we have any comments or questions from the board?
I'll have one in just a second.
All right. All right, so that's one, says Sandy Mountain Road should be number 1.
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Sure.
will this Handy Mountain paving, would it cover address of 1569?
Got a 2 from Route 742 to 0.8 miles north of 742. On me right now, that's the only 2 from information I have. As far as this funding, just we did updated traffic count on it, and it does have 50 now, which made it eligible for the additional types of funding that's in the plan, which will actually make it the second funded behind Fish Pond Lane. The Deer Run Road and Deer School Road have less than 50 vehicles per day, which means they only have to go for the teller fee. So it takes a little longer to fund those roads, whereas the bulk of the funding that the county gets in the plan is those CPP unpaid road funds that only have to go from 1 to 4 to 50 vehicles for that. So it makes it a little complicated, but in effect, that means that even though it's go to full on the plan, it's actually the second that's going to be fully funded and ready to go, hopefully, maybe next year.
Anybody else? All right, do we want to amend this or just approve it as is?
I'd like to see it amended to reflect the new section.
All right, could you do that so that it's clear it's going to be second? All right,
And what we'll also do is we'll take the comments from last month, from people that came, and next month we'll propose a final draft for you all to approve.
okay,
That change, anything extra that might get that.
all right. So it's still up, so you can go to the next meeting, but, we're asking him to clearly put it second.
Okay, it had a track count of 75.
Okay. All right, so here's the gentleman's hit again. All right, anything else? All right, do we have any public comments? I don't have anybody up. If you want to sign up, going once. Anybody? All right, well, we closed the public hearing on the 6-year plan. Then if nobody's signed up to speak, we'll close public comment period. All right, on the new business, do we want to do the special election first?
You can, you have that before you tonight, if you would, take action on approving the resolution. Of course, this is for the Commonwealth Attorney's special election, just her term ended early.
All right. Any questions, or do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, a second.
I'll second.
All right, then we have a motion and a second. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Mr. Kendrick?
Aye.
Ms. Firewall? Mr. Perry?
Aye.
I vote aye also. All right, Ms. Terry Alt from the Virginia Cooperative Extension Agent addressing addiction.
Do you want me to come up there?
Yes, please, so we can, it's hard for them to hear on Facebook.
Hi, so I'm Terry. I am the Family and Consumer Science Extension Agent next door in the Extension office. In your packets, I provided you with a brief. Do you all have that? Okay, so this brief was compiled from multiple interviews with key stakeholders in Patrick County, as well as people struggling with addiction and their family members. I get to read a lot of statistics in my job, but the one that has always stood out for me is that 83% of people addicted to opioids started with a legal prescription for them. So that means people's sons and daughters maybe had a wisdom tooth removed. A child in high school may have torn an ACL and required surgery. Those types of things usually end up with pain meds being prescribed, as well as lots of older people go through things like knee replacements, hip replacements, and a certain amount of them leave with those pain meds and become addicted. So it's pretty sobering that it could be any of us that could be affected. Stigma has kept those people living with the disease of addiction in the shadows of our society. The director of the CDC was quoted as saying stigma is the enemy of public health, and I can't help but agree with that. If you look through this brief that we were able to provide for you, you can see the rates of drug overdoses in Patrick were disproportionately higher here than in other parts of the state. And transportation and local treatment options were mentioned over and over again in the brief as a barrier. If you turn and you look at the maroon sections that are on page 3 and page 4, you will see the summary of some of the priority actions that were indicated by the interviews that were done. So service providers here and our key stakeholders in the community that we interviewed indicated that a priority action would be to inform community power brokers about the substance misuse issue in Patrick. So that's why I'm here tonight. They asked for the community to try to address the transportation issue that plagues so many people here, and to try to take innovative approaches to address the lack of behavioral health providers here in the county, and to try to implement some type of a comprehensive substance misuse prevention program in our county schools. If you look at page 4, in the maroon section as well, these were priority items that were indicated by people interviewed who are either dealing with substance use disorder or their family members. What they asked for over and over again was to have some type of a drug rehabilitation facility in Patrick. They told us over and over again that they knew that they wanted to go for treatment, but they didn't want to leave the county. So I think that speaks to the love that most of us have for this county and how they didn't want to go someplace else. They asked for an effort to get drugs off of our streets, to develop services for those who find themselves homeless, and to create a public conversation about substance use disorder to try to reduce the stigma that plagues so many of them. They asked for support services for family members, and they asked for protection for the children that live in families with substance use disorder, because we know that it tends to be very generational in nature. So those types of things were not necessarily new to us, and in extension, because we work for Virginia Tech, which is an educational institution, we do all things to educate our community. So we are holding our second Addressing Addiction Conference, which you guys, board members, sorry, you guys, should have a flyer for. That was also included in your packet. It's going to be Thursday, May 26th, all day at the college. And we hope that that conference will raise awareness of the issue that continues to plague rural America, as well as to help reduce the stigma associated with it. We hope that you all will consider attending, and there is a way for you to sign up that is on that sheet that explains the conference. We have 7 different speakers. We have someone from University of Kentucky who is in long-term recovery himself, who spoke at our first one, and we thought his message was so powerful that we asked him to return. We have a specialist from Virginia Tech who will be delving into more details about the interviews that were done here in the community. We've invited Beth O'Connor, who's the director of the National Rural Health Association. She works in the southwest corner of Virginia and has a lot of creative ideas that are being done in communities that are rural, such as what we have here. And she's coming to share what some of those things are. We have a couple of people from Piedmont, including Valerie Blevins, who's going to highlight a drug prevention program that's currently being used in Henry County schools called It's Not About Drugs, that they're having a lot of success with their middle schoolers, and they are hoping to maybe get that put into our school system for the coming year. We have someone coming from the Harm Reduction Coalition up in Roanoke. She's going to be speaking about the services that they provide and how they can help people as they travel that road towards recovery to keep them safe while they are on that. And then our final speakers will be Monica Flora and Terry Mills, also from Piedmont, and they're going to be talking about the successes that they've had in the programs that the Engaging Martinsville group that I'm part of was able to put in place in Henry and Martinsville City. So we hope that you'll consider attending, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Very informative.
Ms. Alt, I'd like to personally thank the Extension Office. You guys are amazing, and some of our key protected factors we have in the county. According to countyhealthrankings.org, Patrick County ranks 97 out of 133 counties and cities in the state of Virginia. So we're kind of at the bottom end of the least healthiest counties. The average Patrick County reports having roughly 4 mental health days a month. The state average is 4. And the programs and those protective factors that you guys provide, that's the difference between having 5 and 6. So thank you very much for all you do, and these protective things, and addressing addiction awareness is key to bringing 5 down to 4 and less self-medicating with substance use. Thank you very much.
Do we have any other comments, questions? All right, thank you very much. All right, Scotty?
I'm pretty short with calling it up, please. I'll print it out with the April numbers. We're hoping that they get a little bit better with budget talk, but they seem to be going the opposite direction. But the topic tonight I want to talk to you about our billing, our lack of billing, per se, for patient refusals. This month alone, Station 8 had 91 patient refusals that did not get billed for at all. It means we collected nothing on our effort going out for anything. So what I'm asking the board tonight is to give us permission to go ahead and start billing for those services. Because that's something we haven't done and apparently have never done with this current billing company. As far as the billing company goes, unfortunately, the COVID bug finally got me after 2.5 years, so I had to cancel my meetings last week with them. So we have rescheduled for this week, so hopefully next month I'll be able to present something on the new budget, the new billing companies and everything. But tonight I'd like to get permission to start billing for the patient refusals.
Okay. Do we have any questions?
What is the average bill on those that you do bill? Any idea?
It depends on the service level. I've talked to the counties around us and I love bill for patient refusals. They're called treatment without transport. It's a little box we check on our call sheet. And the average is anywhere from $75 to $100 a call. That's not counting the public assist where we just go help pick somebody up. This is we actually do set of vitals. We do something for the patients. So we wouldn't be charging for the patient assist, we just are charging for the patient refusals. The ones that we check, do something for, and they don't want to go.
Is that something that insurance covers?
Not normally. That's the reason it's a lower amount. And normally BLS transports $600-700. If we take it to the hospital, this place mileage and everything is added up with.
And it takes you out of commission to go to those
Yeah.
calls.
So yes, we do get those calls at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Somebody just wants their blood pressure checked.
Do any other questions or comments? All right, what is, do we have a motion to support that? All right, do we have a second?
I'll say.
All right, Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Mr. Kendrick? Aye. Ms. Howell? Mr. Perry?
Still what?
Okay.
Aye.
All right, I vote aye also. Okay, so there's yes, go ahead. Do you have the proclamation? All right. I have a proclamation for Piedmont Community Services. Greg and Randy, if you want to come up. This is the 50th anniversary of Piedmont Community Services. Congratulations. Wow. Whereas, I'm not going to do all the whereas. Piedmont Community Services was formed in 1972 to provide behavioral and mental health services for the city of Martinsville and the counties of Henry, Patrick, and Franklin, so that the mental health of every citizen is essential to the emotional and economic prosperity of our families, communities, and businesses in Patrick County. Therefore, we strive to create a community that supports behavioral and mental wellness by increasing access to treatment, educating ourselves and our communities about mental wellness and mental illness, and supporting our citizens as they seek to improve their mental health. And whereas approximately 430 staff members at Piedmont Community Services served 7,257 individuals and families during 2021. And these services included, but are not limited to, outpatient counseling for mental health and substance abuse, case management services, parenting classes, school-based programs, and residential services. And these services have positively impacted our local youth through partnerships with the school system to locate case managers and support early intervention programs. Piedmont Community Services is now celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, signifying an immeasurable and irreplaceable impact on our community. Therefore, let it be resolved on this 9th day of May 2022 that the Patrick County Board of Supervisors recognizes this milestone anniversary and thanks Piedmont Community Services for its 50 years of dedicated service to Patrick County. Thank you very much. All right. Did y'all want to say anything? Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Greg Preston, the Executive Director at Vdot Community Services. Mr. Randy Williams is one of our board members. Jamie Carlson is another Patrick County representative. Mr. Chairman, to the board, Ms. Hazelwood, on behalf of the board of directors at Piedmont, our directors team, our amazing staff, we just want to say publicly thank you for the partnership that we have with Patrick County. For the last 50 years, dating back to 1968, and I won't be long, the Virginia Code enabled your local boards, like Patrick County, to put together CSBs, Community Services Boards. So there are 40 Community Services Boards in the state of Virginia, and Piedmont is one of the 40. And as was stated, we're here to serve Patrick County, Henry County, Martinsville, and Franklin. So in 1972, there was a joint resolution with Henry County, Patrick County, Franklin County, and Martinsville to establish Piedmont Community Services. 1973, Lambert Wood was our first executive director. In 1974, there was a budget of $29,148. In 1975, the Patrick Henry Mental Health Hygiene Clinic, had a budget of $100,000. Fast forward 50 years later, Piedmont now, as was stated, we have about 430 plus employees. Just a plug for Piedmont, we have about 40 vacancies. If there's anybody looking for a great job. And we operate out of 25 different facilities. Right now, our budget is around $30 million. I wish I was saying $30 million. And as was stated, we served last year about 7,200 individuals. About 950 individuals were from Patrick County. We are on target to serve over 7,400 this year. And again, I just asked the board to look in the code. I think it's 37.2 500 is the code. It talks about the community services boards and our obligation to the communities. So please take a look at that. I appreciate the extension office and our partnership. And if there are services needed and they don't exist, it's our job as the CSB to build those programs to make sure that we're adequately serving, the county. We are gearing up for our strategic planning, 3 to 5 years, where we'll have Ms. Hazelwood, at the table. We are currently expanding services, definitely here in Patrick County. I've had an opportunity to meet with the superintendent here, as well as Ms. Hazelwood, as well as with the sheriff and social services. I invite all of you, May the 20th, we're having a ribbon cutting, starts at 10 o'clock. We've opened a new recovery center. So we will share that with the extension office, where we're expanding services for all of our localities and for individuals in recovery. And also around 12 o'clock, we're going to the Jack Dalton Park boat party. It's been 50 years, great staff, great services, and just a pleasure of serving the community. And I would be remiss not to say thank you to Ms. Hazelwood for our partnership. We meet at least quarterly. We share with her about services, and likewise, she shares some of the needs of the county. So again, on behalf of Ms. Brenda Ephraim, who's our board chair, Randy Williams, and also in the absence of Jane Paulson, thank you so much. It means so much for y'all to recognize my community services. I would offer a invite. It's our job to let you know what's happening in the county as the extension office. Also to share with you what services we have available for you and what services you need from us to build. So I'll get with Ms. Hazelwood. I think we're set in the next couple of weeks to do a quick update. So again, this is the Deloach board. Hazelwood, thank you.
All right, thank you. Do we have the proclamation? We're rolling. Do we have a representative from Redistricting?
Yeah. Several.
All right. Come on down. Just where? All right. All right, this is Ruritan Awareness Month. In 1928, the first Ruritan Club was founded in Holland, Virginia, as a civic service organization with the purpose of creating a better understanding of our people and through community service. Ruritan clubs make Virginia's communities better places to live and to work. The Ruritan clubs have more than 8,802 members in 352 clubs in Virginia, 4 clubs consisting of 123 members in Patrick County. Ruritan clubs are composed of men and women of all professions, ages, and ethnic backgrounds, including a former Virginia governor. Ruritan clubs provide and coordinate a wide range of community improvement projects and activities, including community fundraisers, food drives, and support for veterans activities. Ruritan clubs support local youth organizations such as 4-H, FFA, Scouts, youth athletic leagues, and scholarships to deserving students. And Ruritan clubs donate Rudy Bears to hospitals, school counselors, and emergency and law enforcement agencies to provide cheer and comfort for children in times of crisis. Now therefore, we, the Patrick County Board of Supervisors, do hereby recognize May 2022 as Rodent Awareness Month. Thank you. Thank you. Got your picture. You want some pie? Thank y'all very much. All right. We have the Employee Code of Ethics policy. Does anybody have any questions or comments or additions, subtractions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right. All right. So we have a motion and a second to approve this code of conduct. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Mr. Kendrick?
Aye.
Ms. Starwall? Mr. Perry?
Aye.
I vote aye also. Summer flex time. You have that in your packet. Do we have any questions, comments, or a motion? All right, second.
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Kendrick,
Aye.
Mr. Arnold, Mr. Perry.
Aye.
I vote aye also. Okay, that's it for new business. Then the Epperson Lane building.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have, this is an email I read from Lisa that talks about the procedure that needs to be followed. First step was to get intent to abandon, to get some kind of notification from the property owner for intent to abandon the roadway. I believe you received a letter or email from the citizen. So once a locality or a landowner has proposed an intent to abandon a section of roadway, the locality shall notify Vdot with a notice of intent to abandon resolution. We provided a draft copy of that resolution for you all to consider and vote on tonight. The locality must post public notification notices along with the notice of intention to abandon the resolution. This can be done by placing the notice of proposed road abandonment. It must be posted in at least 3 places and along the highway to be abandoned for at least 40 days. And we also provided what that would need to look like, and you all can post that yourself. I think Vdot has done it before, just on like a laminated sheet on a survey stake.
Okay.
If y'all would like me to do it for you, if you all requested that, or you all can do that yourself if you do vote to do that.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay. The locality shall publish the notice of proposed road abandonment, 2 or more issues of the same newspaper have a general circulation in the county. 1 or more landowners in the county or town where the abandonment is located, special public hearing be held for 40 days after the NOIA wilderness advertisement is posted, published, and mailed, and the county shall hold a public hearing for consideration of the abandonment. The county shall publish a NOIA public hearing advertisement that gives notice of the date, time, and place of the hearing. If no request is made to hold a public hearing, the county may proceed to the approval of the abandonment resolution.
Okay, so we have the abandonment resolution. So we can approve it tonight. Okay. So do I have a motion that we approve the resolution to abandon?
I'll make that motion.
All right, a second.
I'll second.
All right. Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Kendrick.
Aye.
Ms. Starwell. Mr. Perry.
Aye.
And I vote aye also. So, it's passed.
I didn't see the agenda, but general highway matters, later on, I have a few things to mention, if you're going to do it now or later. Okay. First, I wanted to notify everyone that the CTV is having its annual meeting this coming Thursday. It is a comment period to do y'all want to provide any comments on anything that's on it's the state, sorry, I get them on confused myself. It's the 6-year improvement program, which includes all the secondary and primary projects proposed for the period. It's the fiscal year 2023 to 28 6-year improvement plan. They are asking for all comments to be made and submitted by May 23rd. Comments can be made electronically through the website, but they are actually having a meeting in Roanoke in person on Thursday, May 12th at 4 p.m. at the Holiday Inn Valley View. That's again just to make any comments that you all would release as you'd like to make with the projects that's on the draft plan. We've been getting a lot of questions about the detour signs that was posted for the Lotus Lake project.
Yes.
I think they uncovered them and they have since covered them back up. Vdot office has been working on a draft notice, and I'll just read from it to explain. As part of an ongoing road widening project on 58 on Lotus Lake Mountain, Patrick County, signs have been posted denoting a detour that will only be implemented during emergencies or other incidents as needed. The Virginia Department of Transportation and contract with Branch Civil are reminding drivers that the signs that are fluorescent pink, they've been described as a lot of different colors, but the emergency signs are supposed to be fluorescent pink. I don't think they look that color, but they stand out, which is the purpose of having that different color. But they are supposed to be fluorescent pink in color. They do not designate or a permanent or scheduled detour. The signed detour route is suitable for all traffic on incidences, including tractor trailers and other large vehicles. These detour signs are fluorescent pink, which is different than only signs that denote planned construction detours that many drivers are used to seeing for road projects. There's a little bit more. Drivers are reminded that Vdot provides notices of traffic incidents to the www.511virginia.org website and mobile app. In addition, electronic message boards will be activated along 77 corridor and at some locations along 58 in the event of an incident that requires a detour. The $300 million project on Lotus Lake Mountain will improve safety Route 58 Then the road from 2 lanes to 4, starting 0.3 miles east of 610, which is Cloudbreak Road, and extending to 0.7 miles north of Stewart. Construction is estimated to be completed in late spring of 2026.
And just to verify, you did say that information would be on 511.org?
511, I believe the website is 511virginia.org.
Virginia. Thank you.
And again, they uncovered them and it brought a lot of questions, so they covered them back up. I think the plan at the moment is to leave them covered, and if there is anything that necessitates the detour, will help them uncover them. That plan may change, they may go ahead and uncover them, but the thought behind it is that detour route is only to be followed if there is some reason to have to close the road. They're not planning at this point to have any scheduled detours, maintain traffic the whole construction period of the project, but sometimes incidences happen, so this is just pre-planning, be prepared if there is something that got the route already marked.
Okay, great. Any other questions?
The only other thing I had mentioned last month, we had citizen asked about Fiddler's Green Road and what it might take to have it brought into the state system. It's currently a private road and it's unpaved. So all requirements would be that it has to be upgraded to minimum standards, and we did an estimate based upon quantities that we have that was collected back in 2000. I believe this was source looked at, and we updated the estimate. And it looks like one day it would cost approximately $500,000 to upgrade that road to more standards. And one option to assist is the rural addition program, but that only allows you all to put 5% of secondary 6-year plan funds towards a project like that. And with the current funding of about $260,000 a year, that would amount to only $13,000 a year. Another option to fund the roadway would be to apply through the revenue sharing program. That would be a 50-50 match. So you still talk about more or less you can use some of that, about $500,000. So the $250,000 would have to be covered. Typically, that's done by the citizens to get the $250,000 action to do it. So that is currently the only avenue to try to do that. I know survey was done on the roadway back then, but nothing several actually changed hands. So that would also have to take place.
Okay.
That was Fiddler's Green.
Yeah.
Fiddler's Green Road. That was everything I had for you all tonight.
Any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
All right, we have the redistricting ordinance. Okay, sorry. All right. The fire and EMS exemption.
So I talked to Senator Stone, and she said that really what was behind that, she was trying to save the board of supervisors from having to write a check, extra checks on that. That was really her basis behind it. Obviously, she's followed the code of Virginia, and we should go ahead and just forward with that if the board would so choose tonight.
Okay. All right. Do we have any questions, or do we have a motion to do it?
Motion to approve.
All right, second.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion And a second for the fire and EMS exemption. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Mr. Kendrick?
Aye.
Mr. Arwell? And Mr. Perry?
Aye.
And I vote aye also. All right, the administrator's report.
Okay, so, just working on finalizing some ongoing projects over the last year. Some of those are starting to wrap up here as we near the end of this fiscal year. Of course, I've been on conversations with DOT based on some of the things that they've alluded to tonight with concerns that citizens have for me. I've been working with my department heads, performance evaluations and personnel meetings, and the rest of my report will be in closed session.
All right. Mr. Simmons? Do you have anything to report?
No.
All right, Mr. Kendrick?
I had West Piedmont Planning Executive Board met, but most of that stuff is Executive Board. It was stuff about the handbook and financials and some updates on some of the grants. And then the PSA, about the same thing. We had some updates on some projects and some discussions of some other projects that I think are popular if it works. And then the EDA meeting was canceled, so we didn't have that.
All right. Ms. Starwell?
I had a tourism advisory meeting and we had a new recreation and tourism project coordinator, Mr. Couch. So he attended the first meeting for that meeting, and then I had the personnel advisory meeting for a few months.
So we had the planning committee is still moving forward with the next 5-year plan, so we can be early and on time and improve what has already been submitted. So we're really excited about that. We also have our eye kind of on the horizon for some potential issues that we may have to look at, maybe or maybe not do some ordinances on. Nothing official, but just little future telling with things that have happened. The recreation department, they're moving forward with their the softball leagues and the kid leagues. That's going great, and looking at various types of fundraising to improve the parks. And then the STEP committee, again, they're still looking at all the various ways to continue programs in various schools. And they too, like Piedmont Community Services, they too have quite a few job openings. So anybody needs to help with kids, they'll get you trained up and find a good place for you.
Okay, great. Well, I attended the meeting of Department of Social Services. We're looking at some vacancies, as everybody else is. And I had some discussions with about personnel that are private. I did visit with Ms. Firewall at some of the schools, and I have to say that we were very impressed with the facilities, the kids, the way the principals interacted with the kids. So very, very nice. I enjoyed it very much. And that's about it, I guess. All right, anybody else have anything? All right, do we have somebody to read our question?
Make a motion to enter into closed session. Discuss the appointment of specific appointees to the Economic Development Authority, Planning Commission, PSA, Tourism Advisory Council, and Solid Waste Committee, as well as the assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, discipline, or resignation of specific employees while pursuant to subsection A1, and to discuss the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds for discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining or negotiating position of the county regarding the provisions of broadband services pursuant to subsection A29. 3, consultation with legal counsel requiring the provisions of legal advice and briefings by staff members regarding the hospital redevelopment efforts pursuant to subsection A8. Consultation with legal counsel requiring the provisions of legal advice regarding the rotary lease pursuant to subsection A8. in consultation with legal counsel requiring the provision of legal advice regarding school funding pursuant to subsection A8.
All right, we have a motion to go into closed session for those specific purposes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Kendrick,
Aye.
Ms. Starwall, Mr. Perry.
Aye.
I vote aye also. We're going to move into closed session. Let's take about a 5-minute break and we'll come back.